Welcome to this special edition of Newsnight. We'll be looking at how leaders can influence cultural and ethical values by clearly articulating a vision that employees can believe in. So, if there were no leaders, would it matter? Let's go over to Alan McKinnon at the Department of Sports Science to investigate.
Thanks, Becky. Well, here we are at the Sports and Exercise Centre, and I'd like to talk to Chris Hughes to find out his views on leaders and leadership within a sporting environment.
Yeah, and hi Alan, welcome to the University of Portsmouth. Well, here we are. I guess our role here is to develop the confidence and ability in students to lead, in this case through the medium of sport. And these are, I suppose, transferable skills that can be applied to many different situations. I guess Gwyn used the attributes as identified by Grint in 2005. Those are the person who is leading, the process, how they're going to go about it, the position, where they are in terms of the leadership structure, and the results, what actually they're trying to achieve. And I suppose without your final question, maybe leaders suggest leaders do matter. In fact, we're here today working with a group of students looking not only at the concepts and skills, traits of leaders, but also the followers. In this case, focuses on the effective teamwork and the obligations of those in the group to take responsibility, to lead, in fact, within a supportive situation.
Are there any particular leadership theories you refer to when working with students?
The work of Covey, who distinguished between transactional and transformational leadership, will see the transactional elements through the sort of short-term goals, the activity itself, the interrelations that happen between the student and the lead student, but hopefully also the transformational leadership, that being the student who we're trying to look at the longer-term goals, the human values, potential, and hopefully develop new talent.
Sport is often seen as a fanatical and passionate activity for some. Is there a particular perspective that illustrates this within the context of leadership?
Well, I guess competitive sport is often associated with emotions, moods or states. In this respect, we can refer to it perhaps as emotional intelligence, as discussed by Goleman or Truscott and Wolfe. We can reflect on these both as personal competence as a leader and social competence by being aware of others' needs. Competitive sport is often very immediate, it's intense, through the pressure to perform well and be successful. In this case, we could argue it reflects wider aspects of society and business.
If leaders do matter, what are some of their primary functions in the world of sport?
Well, Alan, I suggest there are many. However, in this situation here, we are looking primarily at the leader establishing collaborative teamwork. Other sport contexts may have different priorities. In this example, we are working on effective communication within the team, and that all members have to take greater or lesser responsibility at different times. Therefore, all will act as a leader at some point or other. I guess it's transitional leadership. The activity looks at triangles of communication that interlink within the whole organisation, in this case the team, hopefully resulting in a more effective team.
Chris, thanks. Well, it would appear that leaders do matter in a sporting context. This is Alan McKinnon reporting, handing back to Becky in the studio.
Now, in breaking news, our reporter is at the scene of a road traffic collision with Hampshire Fire and Rescue. Let's see if leaders matter in a crisis situation.
Thanks, Becky. Here I am with Stuart Adamson, Group Manager of Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service, to find out if leaders really do matter in the fire service.
Leadership is imperative in the fire service. In fact, the English Fire and Rescue Service has a learning and development strategy which is underpinned by leadership development. Fire Service College, which is our central college, has a centre for leadership and also developed a model called the Aspire Leadership Model. This model is underpinned by the Fire and Rescue Service core values and seeks to develop personal characteristics and attributes of Fire and Rescue Service personnel. Inclusion is probably one of our greatest strengths in the fire service. Everyone's included in everything, there's no real elite specialist. We see at the RTC the initial officer in charge doing a recce of the scene and leading those casualties that are involved. He has vision, he sets a plan, he has a number of contingency plans up his sleeve just in case one doesn't work. We always have a number of plans. He communicates that plans and the followers know and trust the leader. Trust seems to be a bit of a central issue. Without trust you can't lead, according to Coos and Posner. They state that creating a climate of trust delivers more positive decisions throughout.
Are there differences in the way people lead depending on the situation?
Very much so. We've got kind of two real workplaces, I guess. It's a strange mix. In one sense, we've got the traditional public sector environment, which Parry, Proctor and Thompson observed was very difficult to manoeuvre, lots of rules. And then we've got the other place, which is out on the fire grounds when we're responding to an incident. There's very little rules, and innovation is really the key to solving many problems and saving lives. I guess you could use Northhouse's definition of situational leadership as a really great model for us. We've got our leadership style very much depends on the situation which we're in, going from the daily routines of being on station out into a busy emergency fire ground. There is some elements of transactional leadership where we talk about on station people doing our daily routines, which are the kind of rules which we're governed with. However, come a call, there's a real need for that transformational leader. One which Podsakov describes as one that needs vision, promotes flexibility, adaptability and innovation in their followers. And this is a real key to the resolution of any incident. We can really see examples of this at a road traffic collision. The real principles of a road traffic collision are getting the safe scene and making sure no one else gets hurt, speed and liaison with other emergency services, because we can't do it all ourselves.
So how do you know it works and leaders really do matter?
As I mentioned, leadership plays a huge role. We try and breed transformational leaders to create an environment of learning, adapting and long-term change. This all goes in hand with organisational learning that Atwood, Morra and Kaplan have observed. We try and evaluate every time. We talk about things that have gone well, we talk about things that have gone badly. We talk about the ideas and the vision of the leader and others within the crew. This all helps to evaluate our performance and bring us together as a better team for next time.
This is Alan McKinnon reporting from Hampshire Fire and Rescue. Back to Becky in the studio.
Thanks, Alan. Let's follow the casualty over to QA Hospital to investigate the value of leadership within the NHS.
Thanks, Becky. Here I am with Dr. Tamayo in the QA Hospital to find out if leaders really do matter.
Oh, sorry,
Oh, come on, hurry up, please.
We need to do the WHO checklist.
No, we haven't got time.
Is leadership important in the NHS?
Leadership is vital in the NHS. The NHS is one of the largest employers in the world, with 1.4 million workers and over 1 million patient treatment episodes every 36 hours. If an example is needed, the Mid Stafford Hospital's public inquiry by Robert Francis is an excellent one. Mid Stafford Hospital was amply able to manage itself, yet the management at all levels was so focused on the short term that the wider strategic goals were lost. Its management machine worked well, but lacked direction and accountability. All the greats of leadership agree, whether it's Cotter or Porter, management is not leadership. The NHS has ample management, but needs a life-saving injection of leadership.
So that completes the WHO checklist. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's very important. Where's everyone?
Leadership in a large public sector organisation as ours means translating high-level objectives and aspirations from central government into achievable targets that we can all understand. We can then manage our processes around those targets, which when summated actually move the organisation towards the greater goals. Leaders help us to believe that the daily work we do and the small gains we achieve actually do matter. Authentic leaders, a la Goffey and Jones, keep us engaged and keep us all working to the greater good. Perhaps I can illustrate healthcare leadership by two scenarios in the operating theatre. The operating theatre here is both a real example of team leadership in micro, but also serves as a model for the whole organisation in macro. In the dysfunctional team, each member is competent in their own right, but they lack coordination with others, and some members, like the surgeon here, perceive themselves to be more important. They lack the ability to cope with the unexpected, to cope with emergencies. In the functional theatre team, there is leadership. They have a slick look and feel, and can increase their capacity to treat more patients or cope with an emergency. Lastly, leadership in the NHS is about people. Leadership in any organisation is about people. Our staff are also our customers, that is our patients. They all want to work hard for the NHS. We're all stakeholders, but we need leaders to guide us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Doctor. Becky, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Alan. So, we've seen three very different examples of leadership and how important it can be. So the answer to our question of do leaders matter is very much a yes. Thank you and good night.